Okay, I see Carlson, Darian, and Abby. All right, so welcome. We're going to get started here. Tonight is Human Health and Performance. Before we get started, I'm sure if you've joined other sessions that you're aware of the $500 scholarship for joining tonight, those that are here for your first time. We have track of your names. So come to Union and this $500 will be applied to your school account. I am here tonight with Dr. Razzo and Dr. Donato. They're going to introduce themselves in a few minutes and then have the presentation. And I'm also here with life coach from Student Success, Benji. And so at the end of the presentation, there will be a time for question and answers. If you have a question, you want to toss it in the chat or something like that, feel free to go ahead. Dr. Donato is going to have a bit of an interaction. So he's wanting cameras on, and he will have some activities for you to do. So the time is now yours.
We are so glad that you joined us tonight, and we're really thankful for your interest in health and human performance and excited to tell you more about it this evening. And we are joined here in our beautiful wellness center in the Advent Health Complex, still under construction, as you can see. But we're on the area where there's going to be cardio equipment, and there's a walking track that surrounds the building. And then in the center, you can kind of see the wood floor behind me. We have our courts for basketball, volleyball, pickleball, etc., and a turf area as well. So we're excited to be able to show you that area this evening. Well, first I'd like to just introduce myself and Dr. Donato a little bit more. And you can see our beautiful families there as well. I'm the academic dean for our College of Health Studies, and I'm also the program director for Health and Human Performance. And Dr. Donato is the main professor for Health and Human Performance. He teaches almost all of the classes in the program, so you'll get well acquainted with him. You'll notice in the initials after our name, we both have PT. We're both physical therapists. So we bring that clinical experience, that background to the program, to the classes that we teach, and to our advising as well. So, a little bit about us. Now I want you to think about yourself as we get into talking about what majors we have in the program, our careers, and that kind of thing. So if you think about what you're interested in, and we'll need our next slide. There we go. So if you answer yes to these questions, our program might be a really good fit for you. Do you like to be active and moving? Do you like topics like exercise, healthy eating? Have you thought about the joy that you get from helping and teaching others to be healthier or to recover from an injury? Are you interested or fascinated by the human body? And how do things like exercise and nutrition and lack of exercise and poor nutrition, disease, injury, how do those things affect the human body? How do we move? We just know intuitively how to move, but what actually makes us move? What makes our muscles contract? What tells them to contract? How do they actually do that and then move our joints and make us do skilled movements? And thinking about skills that you'll learn, taping ankles, doing fitness tests, measuring body composition, nutrition plans. Those are all things that our majors get to experience and learn how to do in the program. So for the degrees that we offer, we have 2 Bachelor's of Science options. We have exercise science and we have health and human performance with an emphasis in fitness and wellness. And then we also have 2 minors that you could add on to any major that you might take at Union. So that minors are fitness and wellness, and then also personal training. And if you're interested in what kinds of classes you take in the program, these are our core courses that everyone, no matter if they're exercise science or fitness and wellness, will take. And it just gives you kind of a survey of the topics that you'll get to cover: nutrition, personal training, biomechanics, physiology of exercise. So lots of fun, hands-on, practical activities that you get to do in those classes. As far as careers that you can head into, a lot of our students that do the fitness and wellness route end up going into corporate wellness, where you actually get to be paid by a company to help the people, the employees of that company, their lives. Community health promotion, maybe you're not working for a business, but maybe you're working through another nonprofit organization. Maybe you're working with your church kind of on the side to help your church members. Talk more about strength and conditioning and personal training options here in a minute. Exercise physiology, cardiac rehab, pulmonary rehab. Those are programs that you can step into after your degree in health and human performance. Health coaching, something you'd be prepared pretty much right off the bat after graduating. And what a lot of our students use exercise science in particular, and also fitness and wellness for, is this like a stepping stone to graduate programs. And I have those graduate programs that are most common listed there for you. Physical therapy and occupational therapy are probably our most common. But we have had students in pretty much all of those areas that you see on the screen in recent years that have gone into one of those other graduate programs. Now, one of the hands-on things that you'll get to do at Union is experiencing a practicum, where you get that practical real-life experience working on campus. And we have options with our wellness committee. And what a lot of students choose to do is personal training. So after you go through the personal training course and get some of those other foundational courses completed, you get the opportunity to work as a personal trainer with students, faculty, or staff throughout this semester. For certifications, we don't require students to obtain certifications, but we prepare you for them. And what we kind of gear our classes towards and base our content on is through the National Strength and Conditioning Association, NSCA. How many of you have heard of the NSCA? Just want to raise your hand. Nobody? Okay, that's all right. So they're based in Colorado, a very reputable organization. And two of the certifications they offer that we kind of prepare students best for are the Certified Personal Trainer and CSCS, or Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. Now, the Certified Personal Trainer certification, you'd be prepared to sit for the exam once you complete the personal training course. Again, we don't require it, but you're prepared for it after the course. And then you could, even while you're still in college, you could work as a personal trainer as your job, as your side hustle, if you wanted to. And then for the CSCS, you do need to be a senior in college or a graduate of college in order to be able to take that examination. But with either fitness and wellness or exercise science, you'll be well prepared to take and pass that exam when you graduate. I just wanted to give you some examples of internship opportunities that our students in recent years have done, organizations that they've worked with for their internships. There's a listing for you of several of them. So in Lincoln, we have lots of great connections for internships. And there are some in there like Chadwick's, Pisgah Valley, that are out of state, Cal State University, obviously. So our students don't have to be just in Lincoln. They have opportunities all over the country that we're able to connect you with. And that internship is required, but it's something that really gives you a chance to practice the knowledge and the skills that you've learned in the program and be able to apply it in the real world and often have a foot in the door for a job or career in the future. So I wanted to share with you some of our recent graduates, brag on them a little bit, and hopefully give you some examples that you can maybe see yourself in a few years in. This is Norma, and she graduated in May of 2022 with a BS in Health and Human Performance, the Fitness and Wellness emphasis. You can see she also had a couple minors in addition to that. And she is currently working on her master's in nutrition and dietetics in Colorado Metropolitan State. And then we also have on the next slide is Sheldon Ramos, and he is now an occupational therapist. He just recently graduated with his master's in occupational therapy from Loma Linda University. And, he is working as an OT at a skilled nursing facility. And then Isa Fernando is currently in an athletic training program, master's program at the University of Michigan. She graduated in 21 with her fitness and wellness emphasis. And she's having a really great time right now doing internships with various football clubs and getting some great experience. And I just chatted with her a minute today, actually, and she said that the athletic injuries class that she took here at Union really kind of set her down this path and got her interested and helped start the base of being prepared for it. So that just kind of made, I told her it made my week. It probably made like my next 3 months hearing that. And it's very exciting to see what our graduates are doing. Yeah, that's just a few examples. And I've been thinking of many more this evening that I wish I could share with you. And just kind of wrapping up here, if you're wondering, well, why Health and Human Performance? Why Health and Human Performance at Union Adventist University? One key thing that I like to point out are our small class sizes. We are a small program in particular. The university itself is a smaller university, and so that lends itself to smaller student-teacher ratios, meaning that you can get lots of one-on-one attention and interaction with your professor. If you are struggling, or maybe you're not struggling and you're just wanting some extra information, extra practice, they're happy to work with you and keep track of you to make sure that you're successful. It also means that you have a close-knit group of peers as well. Get to know the people in your class for sure, but just in your program overall really well. As I mentioned, Dr. Donato and I are licensed PTs, so if PT is your interest, we can be a really great resource for you. We are more than happy to kind of advise you in choosing and applying for graduate programs and kind of giving you a feel for what the profession is like. And if you're not interested in physical therapy, that's perfectly fine. We, of course, have experience working with occupational therapists, personal trainers, athletic trainers. And so we're familiar with that as well. And we also have lots of advising experience with students that have gone into those pathways also. And then I mentioned the internship and practicum experience, which I really think is something to look for in any program that you're researching. And if you have questions beyond tonight, we'll do questions next. But if you think of any later or don't get a chance tonight to ask us, I put our email addresses there. Please feel free to reach out to either Dr. Donato or myself. And so we'll be happy to interact with you and help you out however we can. So are there any questions you'd like to send my way? Yes, and please remind me of your name. Sorry, I see your hand there.
Hello, my name is Carl, and I was just wondering about OTA. So, like, do you guys like do the classes for that, or is that like a whole separate program?
So OT is a separate program here on campus. So yes, you would you start off doing your prerequisites for about a semester, and then you go right into the OT program from that point. So you may take like concepts of wellness from Dr. Donato or something like that, but you wouldn't be doing much in health and human performance.
All right, thank you.
Was it Carl?
Yes.
Hey, my name's Benji and I'm one of the academic advisors. So I'll put my email in the chat, and if you want to shoot me an email, I can send you some more info on OTA and what your classes might look like, because I advise for that program. So
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
I see your hands. Is it
Hello. No, my question is, what is the main career path that people do from the health and human performance career, like degree?
I would say currently the most popular has been occupational therapy, followed by physical therapy. And if I could choose a third, probably the corporate wellness route. Any other questions? He's thinking, Abby's thinking about what to ask. Well,
What are the average class sizes?
The average class size? So our health and human performance, just specifically, you're probably around 6, I'd say 5 to 6 for your class size. So pretty small. If you're looking at like general education courses, kind of the larger university courses, it definitely varies depending on the class. You might have 10 in one class, you might have 30 in another. So yeah, a range there.
My question is this similar to like physical education, or is this program different? Or like a PE teacher, let's say.
Sure. So the content that we go over does have a lot of overlap with physical education. And we actually used to have physical education as a degree within health and human performance. And so the classes that our students currently take were taken by those PE majors at the time. Unfortunately, we no longer offer physical education as a major. So if that is your ultimate goal, you would probably need to go the route of secondary education through the education program and kind of learn more from them about options for than having the, I'm going to say certification, that might not be the right term for being a physical education teacher. Well, let's maybe jump to our demonstrations that Dr. Donato is going to do for us. And then if we have a few minutes at the end, we could come back to questions.
Okay, guys, I'm sure, it's pretty challenging, when you're trying to choose a career and you're not sure which direction to take. I get that question all the time. That's okay, because, as you actually start taking the classes, you start thinking about it. Because just because you choose a major doesn't mean that you're going to stick with that, because it may not be what you want. And so you start to discover that as you actually start taking classes and start doing things. I know that a lot of the students that I teach, they love to play sports. Do you like to play sports? Are you guys into sports? Okay. All right. So if you're into sports, I mean, this is basically the major, okay, health and human performance, and there's a health science, of course. But so I teach a bunch of classes, and one of the classes that I teach, which everybody loves, is athletic injuries, okay? Because people get hurt, right? And so, you need to know how to treat yourself, or you need to know how to treat somebody, a friend of yours, or, so it's a very useful skill to learn. And another thing that I teach too is, and Dr. Reza is weight training, weight exercise in the gym, right? And that's something that, everybody likes, and you usually have a fairly full class for that one. But athletic injuries, I average about like 6 to 7, sometimes 8. So it's a very popular class or a course to take because it's very practical. And the other one is personal training that I teach also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate to you, okay, a very common injury, such as like if you are a tennis player, or if you play pickleball, or if you play ping pong, or any of those upper extremity type of exercise. A lot of people get pain right on the side of the elbow, right here, and they call it a tennis elbow. I don't know if you've heard of that before. Tennis elbow, or in medical term, it's a lateral epicondylitis. Okay. I know that's a long term. You don't have to know that, but pain on the outside of the elbow, it's pretty common. And so I'm going to demonstrate to you how my students treat that. And I show them actually how to kinesiotape. Have you heard of kinesiotaping? You know what that is? I'm sure some of you have. I mean, you probably have seen some of that, but I'm going to show you how it's done. It's quite an interesting way of taping, and you might even like it. And everybody likes it. So I'm going to show you. So typically, okay, so right here, if you can see, there's a bone here, okay? There's a bone there, that's the lateral epicondyle, okay, if you've taken anatomy. That bone is where most of the pain is at, okay? And that's where it's really tender and it hurts at night. And so you want to tape that and to reduce the inflammation and reduce the tension. Because what's happening is this muscle right here, okay, is actually aggravating this area where it's inflamed. So we need to reduce that. You can put an ice pack on, that helps. But what you need to do is reduce the tension of the muscle. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is you'll see these colorful tapes, okay? I don't know if you can see that. So it's colorful tapes. And the reason why I do that is because I can determine which area, what area I'm trying to inhibit versus facilitate versus, there's actually a reason behind all this, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to reduce the inflammation here by using this pink tape here. It's got a hole in the middle, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this tape right on that area where it's really tender, where it would be. I'm going to get you closer here. So it'll be like right here in this bone right there. So I'm going to just put that right on top. There you go. And it's pretty cool because people look at it and like, wow, what is that? And they think it's some kind of a fashion statement, but it's not. It really is meant for reducing pain. And when you take this class, you'll know exactly what you're trying to accomplish, and people are going to ask you, hey, what are you doing? And because they don't exactly know, and you have the advantage because you know exactly what you're doing, and it's not just slapping on a tape for a fashion statement. So when you see athletes that have colorful tapes on their bodies, okay, there's a reason for that. And some of them might use it as a fashion statement, but really it's not meant for that. Okay, you see that? It looks like a clover leaf. The next thing I do now, okay, so it's doing, it's raising this skin up to reduce tension or basically pressure on that bone. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to stretch her elbow or forearm, and that stretches this muscle right here that connects or attaches, inserts on that bone. So I'm going to stretch that, and I'm going to put this black tape, and this is an inhibition. I call it an inhibition technique to reduce the tension on this muscle on the forearm. And you guys will learn how to do this. Wow, that's pretty good. For first try. Sometimes I make mistakes, but we all make mistakes. So there you go. So that's one way to do that. And then the next thing I'm gonna put a band right here to basically I put the band here to transfer the pull more distally away from this area. I'm gonna use a blue tape. So it's gonna be like a compression tape. So I'm gonna stretch that out a little bit. There you go. See that? It's pretty fancy, huh? And so what now, she can start playing sports and she can do that without any restriction. You see, there's no restriction because the tape is doing its job right now. So that's how you do it. Okay, pretty cool, huh? All right. Any questions at all? So this is something that everybody wants to do, and they have like shoulder kinesio taping of the shoulder, and I do the back, the neck, the back here, and then I also do the leg, the quads, and the calf. So there's many areas that you can use, and I tell you, if you know how to do this, people are going to be so impressed with you. They're going to say, "Man, what do you do?" I mean, I'm a personal trainer. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, that's cool. All right. Okay, I'm gonna. Is there anything else? Okay.
I think we're about
You ready?
out of time. Yeah.
Okay. You want to do that? I don't know. Do you have any
Sure.
questions at all? Do you have any questions? No? Okay, there's one last activity I'm going to do with you, okay? One last activity. It's called finger to nose test. Have you ever heard of that term? Finger to nose test? Okay, so what we do is if you have dizziness, you know, if somebody is dizzy, you want to rule out any kind of condition, like neurological condition. So if you have like especially an older person, if they have a stroke, for instance, and you don't know that, and you just complain of a headache, or let's say somebody falls back and hit their head on the cement or the pavement, and they're feeling dizzy, and you want to rule out some kind of a stroke or some kind of a cerebral or what I call a coordination problem, and this is what you could do for with somebody, or you can do it yourself too, because you don't have somebody to work with. So I'm gonna have her. I'm gonna do the test on her, but you can do it on yourself too. Okay. So it's called finger to nose because she's gonna touch my finger, okay, and touch her nose, and I'm gonna move my finger around, and she's gonna do that to see how coordinated she is. Okay. So I'm gonna say, okay, I want you to touch my finger here, touch your nose, touch my finger, touch your nose, touch my finger, touch my nose, and then after, and she's doing really well. Now I'm gonna have her do her left hand now. Nose, finger, nose, finger, nose. And now the reason why I use right and left is because, you know, your brain, okay, half of your brain controls the other half of your body. And so the right side controls the left side controls the right, okay? So I'm doing this neurological test to make sure that she doesn't have any neurological brain problems or coordination problems. So you can do this yourself. What you do is you hold your finger out, go ahead and hold your finger out, and then with your other finger, touch your nose and touch your finger. Touch your nose, and then I want you to move your finger around like this. Move it around to see if you can still do it. And then I want you to switch side, and keep moving, move the finger around, finger, nose, finger to nose, finger to nose. And now what I want you to do it is more challenging now. I want you to close your eyes, see if you can touch your finger and touch your nose, touch your finger, touch your nose, touch your finger, touch your nose. Okay, now switch hand. Touch your finger, touch your nose, touch your finger. Cool. Okay, so you guys don't have any neurological problems. So you know exactly where that finger in space, you know where it's at. So that means that your brain is functioning well. Any questions, guys? All right, cool.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we hope to see each one of you here in August, coming up very soon.
Oh, see ya.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, check the chat, kids, if you need, and these are also recorded. So if you need to go back and watch them again or to get some information or Dr. Razzo or Dr. Donato's email address or anything like that, you can find this recording on the main webpage of Union Adventist University under Speed Date Your Major. It's right close to where you found the link here for tonight. And the recordings take about a day to post. So this one won't be posted till probably tomorrow night sometime, just to give our crew some time to do some editing. But you can always go back and check the other ones that are there as well. And if you have any questions, reach out to us and we'll do our best to answer them. Okay, have a good night. See ya.
Okay.